We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing.
I want to be clear in how I characterize this. This is mostly a protest. It is not generally speaking unruly, but fires have been started.
Today's ceremony, however, has very special meaning, because today we are not merely transferring power from one administration to another or from one party to another, but we are transferring power from Washington, D.C. and giving it back to you, the people.
It is my honor to introduce to you the 45th and the 47th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump.
In America, the impossible is what we do best. There is nothing we cannot do and no dream we cannot achieve. We will restore America's promise, and we will rebuild the nation that we love. We will stand bravely, dream boldly, and nothing will stand in our way because we are Americans. The future is ours. The golden age of America begins right now. America's decline is over. We will be working to meet every crisis with dignity and power and strength. We will move with purpose and speed to bring back hope, prosperity, safety, and peace for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. For American citizens, January 20th, 2025 is Liberation Day. In everything we do, my administration will be inspired by a strong pursuit of excellence and unrelenting success. America will reclaim its rightful place as the greatest, most powerful, most respected nation on earth. I am with you. I will fight for you, and I will win for you. We will not be conquered. We will not be intimidated. We will not be broken, and we will not fail. From this day on, the United States of America will be a free, sovereign, and independent nation. We will stand bravely. We will live proudly. We will dream boldly, and nothing will stand in our way because we are Americans. The future is ours, and our golden age has just begun. The golden age of America begins right now.
That's right. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to episode number 96 of Just Our Take. I'm your host, John, and these are my co-hosts tonight, David and Elle. Elle's back with us this week. How you guys doing? Hey, Dave, what's new in your world?
What's new in my world? Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Just Our Take. What's new in my world? You know, John, if you've been through a small construction project at your house once before in your life, I'm sure, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Just try picking out all the materials and then try being patient while the whole thing is being constructed. That's what's new in my life. We're learning the hard way. Hey, welcome to Just Our Take. As the title of the show implies, this is our opinion. This is our take on things. We love to talk about current news. We love to explore conspiracy theories. If you may agree with us, great. If you disagree, that's okay too. And if you feel like we got something wrong, please throw it in the comments. We're willing to learn. Elle, welcome. Love to have you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. And boy, we have a lot to talk about today. So I'm going to make this short. I'm just happy to be here and happy to share our thoughts on all of the happenings. And I see a lot of activity in the group. So I'm going to be also involved with the chat today.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we may be talking about this, producer Marie. We may just be talking about that. That's going to get someone in a whole lot of trouble, the auto pen. We're going to get to that in just a few minutes. Just on a side note, what's happening with me is I haven't shared this online. Most of you that do know me personally know that I am a distiller at a distillery, and that distillery is closing this Saturday, and it's the longest running, oldest distillery in the state. And so it's kind of sad that it's going away, but it is, and I'll have a new chapter in my life. But that said, this week has been filled with a whole lot of lasts, like the last distillation, the last products that we're making. And today it hit the news, and it also hit Facebook, and we were absolutely swamped with well-wishers and a lot of people coming in, you know, almost teary-eyed that we're closing it down. So it's been a challenging week, and I'm sure that when it's all behind, and by the way, I'm wearing a shirt in honor of my bosses, the Montana Distillery. But that said, there were some people in the distillery today that I had the pleasure of hanging out with. One of them was a local up here, and you know, I had never told her about our show before, and I told her, and she goes, "Well, what's it about?" And I go, "About an hour and a half." But sorry, I have that thing too. I have that. So anyway,
It's good to say.
so no, so then I told her, I said, you know, well, we do politics and not just the normal take on politics. Then we also talk about conspiracy theories. She goes, "Oh, now you're right up my alley." And I go, "Really?" And she had some absolute zingers of conspiracy theories. And I got to tell you, I asked her if she would come on the show, and she's worried because she works for a very liberal college and or university, and she's afraid. I go, "Look, we'll bring you on anonymous. There's other people that have come on anonymously and shared their views." She will be a fascinating, because she did a thesis on Donald Trump time traveling.
There you go. I told you. Whenever you talk about the what do you call it? The info boards. I forget what you call them. The intel boards. I'm like, it's time travel. The intel boards. It's time travel. Yeah. I don't know how else you explain it.
And again, she doesn't come off as like a wacko. She's done a lot of research on it. I personally don't believe in time travel. I don't, but you know, when you have someone that's studied it, it's really, anyway. And then the next people that we talked to, Elle, you'd like this. One of the guys, and I hope they're listening tonight. They did say that they would be following the show, but one of the couple, he actually is a recipient of the Distinguished Flying Cross. I can't even say it. He was in the Marine Corps.
Wow.
And that you don't just give. That's right, exactly. Semper Fi, brother. You don't just give those out. So yeah, I was telling him about you, Elle, and how you guest on the show, and you're our Wednesday guest. And he's like, "Oh, I got to check this out." The funny thing he was asking questions about, Gitmo, and he goes, "Oh, I heard, my brother tells me some crazy stuff about they're rounding everybody up and taking them to Gitmo." I go, Oh, maybe you watch the show and learn a little bit about what we believe. And then I told him, I said, do you know what song Donald Trump uses at the end of every single rally? And they both look at each other and go, well, yeah, YMCA. I go, do you know why? No. And I go, did you know that there's a YMCA on Gitmo? He goes, I was stationed on Gitmo for a little bit. I didn't know that. And I showed him the picture. He's like, oh. So anyway, it'll be interesting. I hope they join us. In the meantime, if you guys aren't already blown away and confused, this one should kind of mess you up a little bit. What do you think, El? Will this one mess them up?
Yeah, I think so. So.
Look close, pay attention, put your popcorn down for just a second.
I'm looking.
Here we go.
As the world watches and listens in horror, the peaceful pro-democracy demonstration in China comes to a violent and bloody end.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Wolves hiding nearby, whispering, do or die around me. You say your last good night while I get
There is another very important phase of warfare. It has as its target not the body, but the mind of the enemy.
The target of psychological warfare is against the enemy's mind.
It is words and ideas.
The ammunition used by Psywar.
Its mission is to influence the thoughts of the enemy soldier, and at the same time
is expected and encouraged to study foreign languages and the social sciences such as history, economics, and sociology. He must have a broad and sympathetic understanding of all phases of human experience.
gripping at my skin, the walls of night closing.
but the use of this force as an integral part of combat has now taken on new form.
As I wait to say my last goodbye.
These are the Psywar soldiers.
Well,
that's pretty powerful. I don't know where you found that, John, but wow.
so
Is that a movie trailer?
It is not. It's actually a recruiting film for the 4th PSYOP. It's a division of the Army, and that's what they do is psychological operations, and they are the best at it. Again, it's division of the Army, and this is their patch. So if you see this patch on anybody out there in their uniform, you know that they do some really crazy stuff.
So if I had a hat with that on there, would that be bad? Because that's
No. No, it's totally cool. This is probably one of the most famous patches out there, one of the most popular patches. You'll see this all over clothing and hats and shirts and cups and mugs and have it. So yeah, I mean, people, I think they probably even sell it at the exchange, the military exchange, or what do they call it, the PX, wherever they are, wherever the army is. But anyway, so there's a lot of things in that, a lot of little hints and little, I don't know, idiosyncrasies, I guess, and you could go through and analyze that start to finish. Next Wednesday, not Sunday, but on next Wednesday's show, they actually came out with part 2, or the second trailer, or the second recruiting film for the 4th PSYOP. I will tell you that the 4th PSYOP is, yeah, don't confuse it with spooky. That's exactly right. Good text. The 4th PSYOP has been very active over the last 8 years. And I think that if you pay close attention, or if you have a good imagination, you could probably find some of the areas where they've been active.
John, I have something that complements that, actually.
Sure.
Now, it's a little different, because what it is, it's about how humanity, it's a 4-minute video. It's a little long, but it's a woman who's describing how we are able to, how we're able to self-destruct. And I'll tell you what, let me play a minute of it. I'm going to bring it up really quick here. I'm doing it myself because Scott's not here tonight. So, but it's interesting. They kind of play off each other. Give me 1 second. Almost there. And I'll play a minute. If you want to hear more, I'll play more. If not, we can share the link.
The final goal is to eradicate humanity as we know it. Once you understand the final destination, it becomes much easier to look back and identify the psychological conditioning, the biological tampering, the cultural grooming, and the educational prepping that we have been subjected to for decades in preparation to making us accept a post-human future.
Interested so far?
Yeah, you did play this on one of our earlier shows, and it was rather interesting, and I think we had a good discussion about it. So I'm good with you if you want to watch a little bit more.
I'll let it go a little longer. I went back, I found it. I'm like, this is exactly what's happening right now. Okay, I'll play it.
It takes a lot of physical and psychological abuse to get an intelligent species like ours to agree to its own extinction. Most, if not all, that has transcended in the last 60 years was designed to get us closer to accepting such a dystopian reality. Whether you care to accept it or not, we live in a hyper-controlled matrix where our perception of reality is meticulously planned, managed, and executed in order to control and steer us in whichever direction they wish. And the direction is a post-human world. For this, they first needed to destabilize, dehumanize, and demoralize humanity through every means possible. The destruction of the nuclear family, children being indoctrinated by the state, abortion, the eradication of God and spirituality from education, life in megacities and away from nature, toxic food, air, and water, social media, replacing real human connection and interaction, engineered financial crisis and taxation, endless wars and massive migration, stress, anxiety, depression, drugs and alcohol, constant fear-mongering, moral relativism as the new religion, and I could go on and on about how humanity has been influenced and forced to move away from all the things that give us strength, security, purpose, and meaning.
Now, it's another 2 minutes. What I will say is it was powerful to me, because if you are paying attention, these are all the things that are happening right now. The fear mongering, especially, every time someone gets on TV, oh, the world is coming. Think about it, all the way up to the election. It's an existential threat to democracy and to our way of life. Our entire planet will implode if Biden is not, if Trump is elected. Unreal.
It goes even deeper than that, and it's kind of interesting enough that the steering of the show has changed just a little bit based on both of those 2 videos. So I'm just going to go right into, do you want to see just how far we've come? And that's not a good way. This is how far we have come from, if you think about where we are today. Charlie Kirk kind of dumps it all out there. Let me turn this on. And
because the Declaration only refers to God 4 times in the Constitution, doesn't refer to God at all, and it only articulates the structure of government.
So first of all, remember that we were a collection of states and colonies, and you need to read the state constitutions before anything else. 9 out of 13 of the original states required you to be a Bible-believing Christian to serve in government at the time of the founding. All 13 out of 13 required a declaration of faith. 9 out of 13 required you to be a Protestant, except Maryland, which was Catholic, which still required a declaration of faith. Almost every single one of the original state constitutions, Pennsylvania included, they had, I profess Lord and Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior in the original state constitutions. You remember, we're a collection of states before that. Secondly, 55 out of 56 of the original signers of the Declaration were Bible-believing, church-attending Christians. So common law is inherited from Blackstone, who was Christian. A common law is an outgrowth of the scriptures. So let's go to 3 principles of common law: presumption of innocence, due process, and jury of your peers. All 3 are biblical principles, wrapped into the ultimate biblical principle that you shall not favor justice if you are rich or poor, which is in Leviticus 19, right before the most famous part of Leviticus 19, which is that you should love your neighbor as yourself. But before that is that in the administration of justice, you shall not favor the rich or the poor, which is the idea of blind justice. We get that in the West, which is incorporated also in the New Testament ideal: neither slave nor Greek nor Jew, you're all one in Jesus Christ, which we get the idea of human equality. These are all biblical ideas. They're not Enlightenment ideas, which is they kind of get conflated at the time. But more importantly than that, they say that God was only mentioned 4 times in the Declaration of Independence. Well, that's a big deal. Okay. Laws of nature and nature's God. The last paragraph of the Declaration reads as a prayer. It says, we appeal to the supreme judge of the universe. Who's the judge of the universe? Jesus Christ. It says in Revelation that Jesus will judge the earth on his throne. So in the Declaration, they were praying to Christ our Lord as a prayer very specifically. Thirdly, as I said on stage yesterday, Deuteronomy was by far the most quoted book, religious or non-religious, in the time of the founding when they were putting together the Constitution. More than John Locke, more than Montesquieu, more than Blackstone. So the book of Deuteronomy, which talked about laws, customs, traditions, it was Moses' farewell address as he's about to say goodbye, say, hey, good luck in Canaan, guys. Here's how you should set up your form of government. But finally, and most importantly, let's look at actually what the founders said. John Adams famously said the Constitution was only written for a moral and religious people. It was wholly inadequate for the people of any other. The body politic of America was so Christian and was so Protestant that our form and structure of government was built for the people that believed in Christ our Lord. One of the reasons we're living through a constitutional crisis is that we no longer have a Christian nation, but we have a Christian form of government, and they're incompatible. So you cannot have liberty if you do not have a Christian population.
Our country was...
Okay.
Wow, powerful.
Unbelievably powerful, but man, yes. Marie, you're right. Stinking mental machine, 100%. That guy, I don't know how his brain works, but the depth and the breadth and depth of knowledge about just about any subject that guy brings up. But when you dig in, and the part that, I mean, there's a lot of it that I had no idea of, but 9 of the 13 colonies required a declaration of faith. 13 of 13 required a declaration of faith. 9 of them said you had to be a believer in Jesus Christ, a Bible-believing believer in Jesus Christ to serve in politics. And these people keep coming back and said separation of church and state. Well,
I mean, is it even before separating church and state? I'll get this out quick, Al. In the previous video, we talk about first you destroy the nuclear family, and I'm going to skip ahead a couple, and then you kill God, you destroy the community, and then people have to live in fear. They'll do anything for security. They'll do anything. They'll whatever you need. Al.
Yeah, there's another angle that I wanted to add that I think aligns with exactly what we're talking about here. And I don't know if either of you have seen the fourth turning, and
Yes.
what is the fourth turning?
Yeah.
And I feel like we are at the end of the third 80-year cycle, which is supposed to be very dark, right? Because there's always darkness before light. And for the audience, I don't want to lose you with all these things, but there's a lot of published videos and books and writings about American history and how every 80 years there's a cycle, right? There's a rebirth.
A renewing.
Happened when a renewing, right? We had the new nation we had our Civil War, we had World War II, and now in 2028 we will have the beginning of a new set of 80 years. And if you look at the last 3 cycles, a lot of what you're seeing today, exactly to the videos that we played, were actually happening. There was kind of like a dark cloud, and people were looking for ways to deal with it. And now that we're in modern times, we can look back at those and understand that, yeah, at the end of those cycles, a lot of people turn to Christianity, they turn back to their faith, and that's how we were able to get over that hump. You can imagine the last 80 years, right? At the end of World War II, before we knew we were going to win the war, there was a lot of despair in the world, right? There was a lot of suffering in the world. And you look at now, there's a lot of suffering. There's a lot of people that are lost. There's a lot of focus outside of the nuclear family. There are some dark forces that push a lot of that. And it's up to us to shine a light on these things, to prepare for the new spring. And I think President Trump faithfully will be taking us to that next level. And it's so awesome that, you know, his term will end in 2028. And we have somebody like J.D. Vance who is looking fantastic, right?
You think? Remember, there has already been a bill brought forth that said that they want Donald Trump to be able to run a 3rd term. I don't think that's going to happen. But you know, what's really funny is when you see these Democrats all over social media saying, "Is this really what you voted for?" I'm like, one word.
This is exactly what I voted for.
Yes,
I voted. Did you vote for Elon Musk? Yes, I did. Hey, really quick on the 4th turning before you move off that. It's a fantastic book. There's an audio book, and the person who wrote it is still speaking, and he talks. We're in the 4th turning now. We're actually in the fourth season, if you will.
Yes.
And it's fascinating because he predicted that we would be in the 4th cycle right about now. He said in the early 20 to mid 2020s. And do you know when this book was written? Do you know what year he finished it? I don't know if it was published, but I know when it was written.
I don't.
1997. Wow. So it's not like he's taking all the current events in and going, yeah, we're in the 4th turning. It's obvious. No, he wrote this a while back, and he predicted based on the cycles, right? The seasons he predicted right about now. Now here's the dark part, and this is the part you got to hope that, and I'm hoping that Trump can help us navigate around this. Trump and a few other world leaders who can help us navigate around this. He said the 4th turning, it always inevitably ends in war. And what the author says is that this time around, because the weapons are so destructive, this war could be way worse than all of the others. But if you go through history, every 80 to 100 years, because we forget, right? We repeat this pattern. And so that's the scary part, is we're there today.
Okay,
well,
so
to
let
John's
me
video, sorry,
let me
John.
make sure I get this straight. I just want to make sure that I'm on the same page. So we're in the 4th quarter. We're on the 20-yard line. Peyton Manning is over center, and he says, "Omaha,
Omaha." Well, John, to your original video, to the original video that you played, if you notice, there was a scene there where they started war, right? Riding horses, tanks. That scene ends up with psychological, right? It's somebody scrolling through their phone. So, David, to your point, it might not be a physical war. It might be a psychological war. And I think that's what we're in it, right?
It could be. And the only thing that causes me to think that there's a physical war, because not because Monkey Work said so, although he kind of documents it really nicely if you ever watch any of his videos, but because you've got people across Europe, like in our country, you have warmongers. We have to fight all the way to the end, not with my children, but with your children. And you got people in Europe gearing up for war, right? Germany, we talked about this last week. And there's actually images now circulating on the web of Putin actually wearing a military uniform, which, by the way, when's the last time you saw Putin in a military uniform? Probably never. I've never seen him in uniform. And now you're seeing arms build up. There is people are trying so hard to get us to an armed conflict, it's ridiculous. So I think there is the psychological warfare is to get us to go, yep, it's okay, I'd go along with you, and then someone pulls the trigger.
All right, so it's time to shift gears for just a second. We're not going way off that, but there is some news out there today, and I'll go ahead and play this one.
Today, we made an offer that the Ukrainians have accepted, which is to enter into a ceasefire and into immediate negotiations to end this conflict in a way that's enduring and sustainable and accounts for their interests, their security, their ability to prosper as a nation. I want to personally we both want to thank the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, His Majesty, for hosting us, for making this possible. They've been instrumental in this process, and we're very grateful to them for hosting us here today. And hopefully we'll take this offer now to the Russians. And we hope that they'll say yes, to peace. The ball is now in their court. And but again, the president's objective here is, number one, above everything else, he wants the war to end. And I think today Ukraine has taken a concrete step in that regard. We hope the Russians will reciprocate. Today.
So if you think that the military-industrial complex is not praying for war, just take a look at the beginning of the statement, the Dow Jones marker down there, minus 415, and at the end. At the end of his statement. So
what do you mean there's no war on my defense stocks? Come on.
I have another quick one, and then we can talk a little bit about it. Let's go here. Come on, Scott. Hurry up.
You have the Russian response to that? Does Scott have the Russian response?
He doesn't yet. However, we do have Trump buying a yogurt stand. I'm just kidding.
We lost L.
Importantly, and I said it, Ukraine, ceasefire. Ukraine, ceasefire. Just agreed to a little while ago. Now we have to go to Russia, and hopefully President Putin will agree to that also, and we can get this show on the road. We can get this horrible war where 2,000-3,000 soldiers a week, every week, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 sometimes. I get the reports, and they're not American soldiers. They're Ukrainian and they're Russian. But people are being killed outside of that. People are being killed in the cities as things explode throughout the cities. And we want to get that war over with. So I think it's a very big, I think it's a big difference between the last visit you saw at the Oval Office and this. So that's a total ceasefire. Ukraine has agreed to it, and hopefully Russia will agree to it. We're going to meet with them later on today and tomorrow, and hopefully we'll be able to wipe out a deal. But I think the ceasefire is very important. If we can get Russia to do it, that'll be great. If we can't, we just keep going on, and people are going to get killed. Lots of people.
If we can't, well, there's more people just keep getting. I mean, that's the hard, cold, harsh reality. It has to happen. So what do? We said, hey, look, we will restore your access to intelligence, and we'll restore some funding, but you have to agree to stop fighting. And the initial response was no. And then it was, all right, then you're on your own. Good luck.
So that all happened with the backdrop of, and I thought I clipped it, but I didn't. That happened with the backdrop of Elon Musk delivering a few Teslas for Donald Trump to choose from. I think this is another trolling operation. You know, Donald Trump got the Democrats. He got the Democrats to say, how dare you buy a Tesla, when the same thing those were saying, you're an evil person if you don't buy a Tesla. It's wonderful to watch. He just plays them.
Oh, it's so great. It's so great. Down with Tesla, down with those electric cars. Oh, the ones you've been fighting for us to go and buy this whole time.
Yeah, we showed you last week or on the Sunday show where there are terrorist acts being done against the Tesla buildings and the cars and the charging stations. I guess there's a video out there of a guy lighting a Tesla charging station on fire. Lo and behold, he caught on fire. So God rest his soul. But it turns out that Democrat fundraising organization, Act Blue, has been caught funneling money to these terrorist, and you can't call them anything else, these terrorist organizations. So when do we shut down Act Blue?
Well, Act Blue was being funded from donations from NGOs who were being funded by USAID. So when they run out of money, which could be any day now, but by the way, sorry, I didn't mean to sidetrack, but he got me thinking
You
about.
reminded me of Biden there for a second. By the way, no kidding. This is
By the way, hold on, and I got hairy legs. No, so in the state of Washington, the mayor of Seattle is very excited because he's trying to increase the taxes. There's a tax in the city of Seattle on residents to raise money so they can distribute vouchers to people, so they can then take those vouchers and use them as political campaign donations.
Wow.
And I'm like, what the heck is wrong with these people? Yeah. They're going to take taxes from us, give them to people who will then turn around and donate them back as campaign donations. That's how Act Blue gets their money. It's clear. It comes from taxpayers.
And this is in agreement with Tex about Marco Rubio. He's doing a great job. And I too, I hate to say it, I didn't have great expectations for him in this role. I know he's a good senator. He was, good at what he did. He was good for his state, but I didn't expect this from him. So I'm pleasantly surprised. He's done a great job so far.
I would argue that maybe he's learned a little bit, right, in the last couple of years. You think back to the 2016, 2015, when he was a bit of a hothead, right? Very emotional, reacting to things.
Yes.
Right?
So back when Trump was calling him Little Marco, is that when?
Yes, exactly. I think
yes.
Part of it was trolling, but you could see that Marco and President Trump have really built a respect for each other. And I think Marco has really elevated his game. I mean, every time I've seen him in this administration, he's delivering good news. We started this administration with him going down to the Panama, going down to South America, traveling across the seas. And every time I see him, he's either going to deliver good news or he's delivering good news. And, here we're talking about psychological warfare, and just to weave the story in, I actually was having a little confrontation discussion with an old friend of mine that is a Marine Corps retired officer, and he is so tunnel vision into we must destroy Russia through Ukraine, and I'm like, this is not the Cold War, this is not 1982. We need to let go of those thinkings and really realize that it's 2024.
Yeah.
The president has said in fantastic comments about, hey, I just want the war to end. I mean, when have you heard a leader like that the last 20 years to say, you know what, I just want people to stop dying?
Yeah.
Those are the things that you hear, like the Pope say. That's another story. The Pope's a crazy guy, but
right.
You would hear Gandhi say something like that, and here's President Trump saying, I just want people to stop dying. And I watched this interview of him this morning where he did say that to the Irish, is it a president or prime minister? I don't remember. Anyways, he's visiting the White House today.
Yeah, I've got to talk about that. So when you're done.
Yeah, and they asked him this question. One of the reporters asked him about, are we giving up stuff to Putin? And he goes, first he asked the reporter, who are you with? And then he said, of course, you're asking that question. And he said, look, sitting here, we've lost 29 human beings. Just in the 10 minutes that we're talking, that's how many people have died in the Ukraine war in this 30 minutes we're having this discussion. I mean, to have that clarity to say, look, human life is important to us. And that's true. I'm an American citizen. I'm a veteran. Never want to go to war, right? Wars should be the last thing we do. And it's so refreshing to have a leader that puts life before death.
Yeah.
I love that. That's my point.
Yeah. Oh my God. So well said. Life before death. And not just being alive, but actually thriving, like having something to live for. It's such a complete 180 from what we've been experiencing. And it's so odd that these leaders from other countries across Europe can't get on board with this. Like, why are you so eager to, we know why. I mean, I'm being facetious, I guess, when I ask that question.
None of them are going to go. None of their children will go.
Right.
And they make more money when we do. They also
Right.
gain more power and control when either we or someone else is in at war. I do want to mention the Prime Minister of Ireland, who came over here. I find it hilarious. Again, more trolling. Donald Trump is the master at trolling. So we've been hearing both from Trump and from other people. We've been seeing it on social media. We've been hearing it pushed out there that Rosie O'Donnell,
Oh,
a
yes.
good Irish name, is hanging out. She's moved over to Ireland, and that's going to be her permanent residence now. She's moved there and she's going to love it, and she's so much happier there. Donald Trump has been putting it out there. Well, I hope Rosie has a good time over there. Well, Rosie's found a new residence because he knew that the Prime Minister of Ireland, one, was coming to visit, and two, absolutely loves Donald Trump. So it's like, glad you got over there. My biggest fan is your new Prime Minister.
Oh man, she's a piece of work. I had to flee the country.
But
Me
Trump
and my
is so
daughter.
much farther ahead. The guy is, you will not outpace that man, period.
Yeah.
No.
Which is incredible.
All right. You talked about USAID. I just want to show you something here. The Department of Justice wrote a little letter to the USAID. Apparently, USAID staff have been instructed to clear out classified safes and personal documents per the email obtained by CBS News. Shred as many documents first and reserve the burn bags for when the shredder becomes unavailable or needs a break.
So I heard that this happened, but I wasn't able to verify it before we went on tonight. Is this real? Because,
yeah, there's the letter.
well, I mean, anybody could put a letter up, redact a few things and post it. But is this real? If this is real, someone's got to be in handcuffs tonight.
It's 100% real. And again, it was obtained. This email was obtained by CBS News. It was also put out by the DOJ earlier today. And speaking of DOJ,
I hope it comes with, and there's an arrest coming.
I heard that there is a little bit of friction between. Sorry, let me unclear that. There's a little bit of friction between the DOJ, otherwise known as Pam Bondi, and Kash Patel. Did you guys hear about that?
No.
No. What friction
Kash,
could there possibly be? How many do we arrest first? I'm confused.
So, contrary to historical chain of command, Kash Patel has arranged for a direct line to the president.
Oh, yes.
The FBI director would usually go to the deputy director or deputy secretary of the, I'm sorry,
DOJ.
Thank you. The deputy attorney general. So now the FBI director would usually go to the deputy attorney general, not even to Pam Bondi, but to Pam Bondi's deputy. But in this case, he's going directly to Donald Trump. And it has a little bit of feathers ruffled, but I personally, not that I don't trust Bondi, but I think from a timing standpoint, it's going to happen much faster going direct to Donald Trump. What are you guys' thoughts?
Well, sorry, I'll get this out really quick, then I'll quiet because I want to hear L2. I think they all have such a great relationship with Trump that it's just too easy. And Trump is one of those leaders where he doesn't want to hear something filtered through two or three other people. He wants to hear it directly. He trusts them implicitly, and they trust him also. So I hope that Pam Bondi is not. I hope that she can get over it quickly, because it actually helps her that there's that transparent, that quick of a relationship.
Yeah, I got the sense that she would be in the room for any major discussions with Kash Patel, but Kash Patel doesn't need to filter everything through her deputy, and I think that's a strong statement.
Yep. My comment is, sadly, the AG, whoever sat in it, I mean, I'm going to go back to the 90s. I think since Bill Barr, we haven't had somebody who's looked for the best of our country. To be fair, it doesn't matter if we had a Republican or a Democrat president. The AGs, if you look at, like I said, the last 30 years, everybody that's had that seat, they've been horrible at that job, right? The expectation is you're the top lawyer, you're supposed to be representing justice for the American people, and we've had nothing but Pam Bondi with the whole, well, I'm mad. I can't believe, well, they lied to me. You're the AG. If New York FBI office lied to you, why are you on Fox News 10 times?
Get on them already. Get down there and
you're the
and
AG. I mean, you have the job, you have the badge.
Yeah.
Right? It's like you have the badge. Why are you complaining on national television? Go do your job. This is not about you looking pretty on, TV stations. You're supposed to be doing the job. And unfortunately, the last month, and maybe it's unfair, but to me, she looks just like the last 30 years of AGs that we've had that have been horrible, right? They haven't been. I'm actually surprised that President Trump didn't bring in Ken Paxton. Ken Paxton sued the government against Biden and won. I think he won something like 16 out of 17 cases in court. I mean, that's a guy who was representing a state that had, the open borders, they had friction, and he won all those cases. I would want somebody at that level, a bulldog, to be my AG. And to me, Pam Bondi, she hasn't delivered, right?
We haven't
she better
seen
deliver soon.
I think that I'm going to err on the side of she doesn't want to lose any of these cases. So she's making sure everything is gathered. And I think that part of this is exposure too. I really do. I think it's exposure. I'm going to jump for just a second because David, I'd like you to read this headline. This one comes from us from Texas.
Oh, all the way from Texas. Texas embalmer arrested after castrating corpse of a sex offender, shoving severed genitals in his mouth. Well, I mean, that's a special kind of angry. That's a special kind of angry.
That's a special kind of angry. That goes down a whole different road. And, I think people are fed up with people getting away with it. Now, Roger's agreeing with you. So you got Roger on your side. I don't disagree, but I just think that she's being extra careful. We don't want to lose any of these. She has failed to...
John, I mean, I agree with you, but to me, you don't have to be on TV. Look, and I'm going to call him Bobby because RFK Jr. is a long name to say. Bobby is done on television every other day. He's making a plan. He has to deal with a lot of folks in the FDA, our food producers, our vaccine, our big pharma. He has a lot on his plate, right? And you can say, well, he's trying to make sure that the decisions he makes are the correct ones. The guy is not on television every other day. So if you have something to say like, hey, we're perp walking people, then get on TV. But don't come on TV and say, I'm going to write a strong worded letter because New York FBI office lied to me. Why do you know how you discredit yourself by doing that?
Here's what I'm going to say. That if Trump had a problem with her being on TV for that, she would have been smacked down pretty hard. And he would have come out like forcefully in public and said something. So I keep going back to the op theory, and I could be wrong, and time will tell. I think there is an op going on that we're not privy to, and I just there are too many things that have happened in the past that show us how deep these ops go and how far along they're willing to run it. I even was listening to a guy last night talking about how the finance system right now, how it's falling apart, but it's not there yet, and that. If you look at this continuing resolution, Trump wants he wants it to pass. And you have to ask yourself, why does he want it to pass? He's out there with Doge. He's out there complaining about everybody wasting all this money. And yet there's a 1,579 page CR that is not a clean bill that he wants passed. Why?
Well, the only reason why it's called a clean resolution, it's a clean one, is because it takes the exact budgeting, the exact dollars that were already earmarked or budgeted and planned for, and continues it through the rest of this current fiscal year. But it's not clean in the sense you went through it and said, we're sending money for what? We're sending money, gut. They have not done that.
He said he wanted USAID cut, and it's still in there.
Yeah. So there is a reason now. Part of it could be he just wants to make sure he's got enough money to operate with, and he's still going to cut USAID. Or he wants America to get fed up with us going into another $2 trillion worth of deficit spending this year.
I don't think that the fight between he and Thomas Massie was real. I think it was staged. Just my opinion.
Could be he was out pretty loudly. Primary that guy. Well, listen, this bill may not pass anyways. It's got to get through the Senate, and it's got to have a 60-40 vote.
Yep.
And right now, Schumer's, we will not pass this no matter what. We will shut down the government. Of course, if you rewind the tapes back, a little while ago, about 6 months ago, these Republicans want to take away your paychecks and shut down the government. They don't care about you. But he's way out front right now saying, we will not pass this. So, John, it's not going to pass. And that's it. Well, then the government will shut down. And there'll be some impact.
Speaking of impact, do you remember Brittany Griner? Was that her name? The WNBA basketball star that was arrested in Russia for possession of marijuana, which is it's an absolute crime over there. They don't play the same games we play here. She was shocked that she got arrested, and there she was arrested. She was sitting in jail. Do you remember the negotiations to get her home? That the Biden administration, who did they trade?
I don't remember his name, but he's a pretty famous arms dealer.
He's the biggest arms dealer in the world, and he's an underground arms dealer, just a piece of garbage arms dealer. Okay, so put that in place. We take a WNBA person who has no respect for other countries' laws, and we trade her for the biggest arms dealer in the world. Meanwhile, we're sending all of these arms over to Ukraine. What could possibly go wrong? The guy was a Russian arms dealer too. What could possibly go wrong?
That's him, by the way. Just thought you should know.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
Well, what did go wrong is they're finding these Javelin missile systems. Pull that sound down. They're finding all of these Javelin missile systems on the border in the hands of the cartel.
Right.
Yeah, in Mexico. Yeah.
In Mexico, in the hands of the cartel. Now, we don't know if they know how to use them or not. But they have them. And what if they act because they don't know how to use them? What if they start shooting down some of our airliners? I mean, because if you watch the, what the heck is it called? The ADS-B exchange. That's where you can find all the flights all over the U.S., all over the world, really. They fly right along the border area there. And those Javelin missile systems have a range long enough that they could take out, and they don't discriminate. They lock on a target, they're done.
Yeah. And if you're in the Mexican cartel and you're feeling threatened, your back's up against a wall, maybe you might consider something like that. You might. Yeah, it's a good point.
So anyway, it's again, these things all have consequences, and you could have seen it coming. In fact, I think when we heard it, we even thought, oh man, those are going to end up in one of our enemies' hands. And sure enough, they did.
I just want to say to the interwebs, John didn't discover that first. Somebody else did. We don't want to end up like Jamie White from InfoWars. So
don't laugh about that. That's terrible.
I know it's absolutely horrible.
Jamie White was one of the reporters at InfoWars, worked under Alex Jones. He was murdered, and apparently Alex Jones himself has been swatted 2 times over the weekend. I don't know if you guys don't know what swatting means. They put a call out to the police that there are gunmen coming into the house and they're holding him hostage. And the whole idea is that they want the police to come and mistake Alex Jones for the criminal, and they bust through his door, and then Alex Jones pulls a gun, and then next thing you know, Alex Jones is killed by cop. And they've done that to him twice over the last 48 hours.
And I know that was a really rough segue. I did not mean to take us that direction.
No, that's okay. You just have to wonder who is doing these swatting, and why do they want Alex Jones? Alex Jones has been spewing conspiracy theories for such a long time, and some of his conspiracy theories are so far out there, he doesn't have as much credibility as he did in the beginning. There's a fringe group that absolutely loves him, and some of his stuff is legit. I'm not going to say he doesn't, hit the nail on the head every once in a while, but for the most part, the guy, he's interesting. I'll say that.
He's interesting.
Yeah, John. Sorry, David. I
No,
did
go ahead.
see a an article online that both Alex and the gentleman who was killed were on a hit list in Ukraine, and apparently he was murdered within under 24 hours of that DDoS attack that hit X, that the IPs point to Ukraine. So
Right.
I don't know if they were trying to send a message, you know. And that's what a lot of folks were talking about online this morning, about how it's so coincidental that the service attack on X, even Elon has said that the IP addresses appear to be coming from Ukraine. So
Yeah.
it was a coordinated attack, and less than 24 hours, a reporter who was in a hit list by the Ukrainians ends up dead in Austin. It's
And
interesting.
Alex Jones says he was called by General Flynn that he too is on the same list and he needs to just be careful.
And General Flynn's not one of those guys that tosses, conspiracies out there. He's a pretty straight up guy. I also know that TikTok got hit pretty hard day before yesterday. I guess everybody's personnel count went to 0. So if you had, 200, it came back, but if you had like 200, a million followers or 10 million followers, everybody went to zeros. 0 followers, following 0, and 0 likes, which are the main metrics out there. And it went there for a little while too. People were freaking out because there's a lot of people that make a lot of bank on there, a lot of money.
So, yeah, exactly. I was gonna say, for my 6 followers, I had to earn them doing all my TikTok dances and the challenges. Those challenges are tough. No, but
I do TikTok rap. I'm a rapper on there. I don't know if you guys knew
I
that.
can see that. I could hear you rapping right now in my head. But to your point, like there's people all over the world, by the way, that use TikTok and they're influencers and they've got millions of followers.
Yep.
And it's just incredible how their audience size.
Yeah. Anyways, do we want to do stories of the day?
Oh
I have
my
one
gosh.
I have one that I want to talk about just
Please.
for a little bit, because
Bring it
I
up.
think it's I don't know if folks our audience know about the politics in Greenland, but center-right party won a very huge election, and they normally don't. It's been they rely heavily on, is it Norway or Sweden? I don't know what's the European country that they're aligned to. So they're very similar to something like Puerto Rico, where they're reliant. They're a territory, right, of another country, and so that host country, they have a bunch of welfare programs, so people kind of vote for the government, so they're more liberal. Well, with all this talk about Trump coming in and seizing or bringing in Greenland into, the strategic plan with America, the center-right party that hadn't won an election in a few years actually won, right? And so, this is a party that's pro-America. This is the party that's pro-America. So, Denmark, thank you for that correction. So that's neat to see, right? The people are waking up, like we're talking about. People around the world are waking up, and I think these folks are like, "Hey, wait a minute. Denmark is a nice country, but the freest country in the world, the one that has the biggest economy, they want to bring us in under their cloud? Sure, why not?
They did the math. What's the
Right.
population? Like 55,000, I think, is what I kept reading.
Yes.
They're like, so first off, think about it. 55,000 people, they were able to the party that they elected, right? So it's a small audience. That's not a lot of people. So that it's a majority of them all weighed in, right? And they're
Yes.
saying, $1 million US each, we would be pretty comfortable. And for the US, $1 million each is not a lot of money. It's a lot less than what we spent on Ukraine and
That's
education
right.
and everything else.
Well, if they did become a state, then they would definitely surpass both Alaska and Montana as the fewest persons per square mile in as far as a statehood goes, and that's interesting.
That's true, but it could be interesting also is people from the U.S. might say, you know what, let me go and visit. Maybe I want to stay in Greenland for some part of the year. I don't know if you stay there year round, but maybe they want to go be there now since it would be a U.S.
And
state.
Trump continues to troll about the 51st state being Canada after they enacted the tariffs, and then the premier, I don't remember which province, came out and said that we're going to cut we're going to charge your electric bill 25%. And they said, so Trump says, okay, well, I just doubled your tariffs. And he came back and said, okay, never mind. But when he did that, he goes, look, he can either come into line with it, or, we'd love to have him as our precious 51st state. I think it's hilarious that he keeps going after that. I'm not sure what his messaging is, but, nice. Thank you.
Also USA. Yeah. Just a little fun.
Yeah, good message, El. That's a good one. I want to, Dave, unless you had something you want to go to.
I was going to, just a quick hit on this. Inflation down slightly. What's down? Well, fuel prices are down. That's odd. I think that's something President Trump promised. Now they're not down by 50% yet, but it's only been, 50 days. Egg prices
barrel
are
of
still
oil
up.
was 60, right? That's what I saw.
Oil has come down, it continues to decline, and even a lot of food prices continue to come down, except for eggs, because after you kill 150 million hens, it takes a while before you can get the hen population back up. By the way, it looks like
you'd be surprised. They actually come up pretty quick. I will tell you. Let me pull this down because I want to come back to this. I went to the local feed store where they bring in chicks. This is the time of year everyone buys their chicks.
Yeah.
And they came in with about 350 chicks. And again, if you know my small community, that was a pretty good, healthy number. And I walked in there like the day after the sale started, where they're selling all the feed, the coops, and everything else. And I go, wow, you guys already sold out of your chicks. And she goes, in 30 minutes.
Oh, wow.
They sold out of all of their chicks. Wow. They've got another shipment coming in, but they sold out of all of them in 30 minutes. And so much of that is because of the price of eggs. The thing is, a lot of these people have not done the math.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be about $9 to $11 a dozen when you get done with maybe 6 to 10 chicken.
Yeah.
And by the way, when you get those chicks, you don't know, you could have 8 roosters and 1 hen. I mean, it's like, so you're having a big chicken dinner. I want to come back to this one because this was interesting. Democrat Representative Bill Keating erupted at a House hearing Tuesday after Republican Representative Keith Self properly identified transgender rep Sarah McBride, a male pretending to be a female. So he said, would the gentleman from whatever state he's from, take the floor? And this guy went nuts. Well, this is not the first time. This has been happening. I know that oh gosh, David, the one that you like so much, not MTG, the other one that you like so much has referred
Bobert.
to. Yeah. Bobert is referred to Sarah McBride as the gentleman from, and remember, it was Bobert and MTG and a few others that actually made sure that he did not get to use the ladies' restroom. So this is an ongoing thing. Do I think they will cave? I don't think they'll cave. I don't think they'll cave because they've already made it very clear, and the House rules have made it very clear that you are not going to get to use the female. If you are a biological male, you do not get to use the female restroom. And I think that that's the beginning of it. So,
well, and I mean, the simple solve for it, the quick and simple and easiest solve for it is you just have all gender single bathrooms, and that's the way you handle it. And problem done.
No, I don't want. No, it isn't. That is not a problem solved. That is capitulating. I don't want to go to the bathroom in the same bathroom as a woman. I don't want my daughter having to go to the same bathroom. I don't want my daughter. You're talking about rebuilding the entire Capitol restroom system. No, not capitulating.
This is my take. My take is it's a simple solve.
It's not a simple solve, though. How much money are you going to put into building new restrooms so that you have individual restrooms for each and every stall that you have now? You're going to rebuild the entire Capitol for this one problem.
It's John. It's It's not a new trend. It's not a new trend, but it's definitely an appreciated trend. That's all
David. If I may, in applying such a policy, I've traveled to visit family through Seattle, and it is the most ridiculous thing where they have bathroom. You walk in and it's a community sink area where men and women can be there. Then they have the stalls with doors, and then they have men's urinals. So which one is it? Do we have the separation,
I know what you're
or do we
talking
have
about.
men's? So
no, that is.
How do you apply it? How do you apply that?
I've seen that.
It makes sense.
I've seen that, and I think it's an abomination. I think, look, the simplest, easiest thing to remove all of the drama, the friction, and the controversy. By the way, a lot of people don't like to use the restroom with other people, period, men or women. They like to be
right.
So you know what? The simplest solution, and you see this all over the place nowadays, just give them their own little room, let them lock the door, and have some peace.
Have you been to the U.S. Capitol?
It works great.
Have you been to the U.S. Capitol?
Well, I've not been inside the U.S. Capitol. I've never been inside the U.S. Capitol. I was not there January 6th. Go on.
So if you go inside the U.S. Capitol and you see how large the restrooms are, it's not a practical save. It isn't.
Okay.
But anyway, I'm just saying that I don't think that they're going to capitulate. I know that they've already, like I said, and this conversation really is about whether or not they're going to refer to him as a female or not. I don't think they're going to. I don't think the Republicans will. I think the Democrats will continue to refer to him as a female. I don't think that the Republicans will. And this is, I know the bathroom thing is not going to happen anytime soon, certainly not under Republican control. But that's an interesting thing because, again, it went nuts and it will continue to go nuts. On that, I'd like for either one of you to go ahead and take, there would be lines to pee all the live long day. You're not wrong.
Only in the women's restroom. I've seen it it feels like every time I walk by a women's public restroom, it's like a concert or something. There's always a line.
Speaking of which, have they done it at football fields yet? When they do it at the football field, at I don't know, what's the stadium up there, David, that you guys go to?
I don't go to it.
Well, anyway, when they do it there,
$50 to walk in the front door. I'll watch it at home.
Someone want to read this one? I'll scroll if you read.
Elle, it's your turn.
Yeah, absolutely. So breaking, Obama Judge Beryl Howell sides with Perkins Coie, the DNC law firm linked to Hillary Clinton and bogus Russia dossier, blocks part of Trump's executive order. Do we know what part of the executive order?
We do.
All right. She was an Obama appointee, blocked part of the President Trump's executive order barring employees from DNC law firm Perkins Coie from entering federal buildings. Beryl Howell granted Perkins Coie's request for a TRO. I'm sure we'll find that out what that is, for part of Trump's executive order, and said the president violated the law firm's due process.
So in essence, here's what happened. What happened. Donald Trump came in and said two parts to this executive order. Members of Perkins Coie law firm were being stripped of their security clearances. He has the absolute right to do that, and he did it. And the other part of it was that they were being barred from entering any federal buildings. And what she's doing, and she's probably right in this, even if she is a very liberal, Trump-hating judge, she's probably right in this, that there was no due process to keep them out of those buildings until you prove that they had something to do with the fake Russian dossier or any other crime. You can't just bar them. But he absolutely did put in an executive order saying that they were losing their security clearances. Well, that effectively removes them from many of the places, including all of the hearings that may have any classified information at them. So what she's done is she put a temporary restraining order in place that said, you can't keep them out of these buildings, but they can't go in those buildings if they need a security clearance to go in them. So
yeah, that's the way it is. Yeah. By the way, Judge, it's not your decision. The president gets to make this decision, who has security clearance or not. So sit the Frank down. See how I did that? And And if you're confused, go back to your law school books.
We need to send that judge Stephen Miller's civics class review where he said the only elected person in our country is the president, who is representing us and has the right. He's the only person that has the right, according to our Constitution, to do these things, to take away things, to give things, to cut costs. That was such a eloquent way, the way he said it. And I know we saw that video the other day on a different episode, but I think people need to be reminded.
Yeah. Here's another one for you. You know, we've been talking a bit about the DEI and the madness around DEI and everything else. And now, you know, Trump is saying that no DEI policies can be in any government position and back and forth. And here is a guy, he's caught on a voicemail. He was trying to coach DEI candidates for air traffic controller into passing their tests. So I'm going to go ahead and play some. It's a little bit long. I'm going to play some of it, let you guys hear it. But it's just stunning. Why on earth do you guys want these people so badly in there? So here we go.
Members, brothers and sisters, listen. It's been a really busy time for me these past 4 days. I know that each of you are eager, very eager, to apply for this job vacancy announcement. And trust, after tonight, you will be able to do so. I am asking that you give me another 15 or 16 hours. Allow me to go to work and come home, provide you with an email that will be extremely crucial in the opening stages of this hiring process. There are some valuable pieces of information that I have taken a screenshot of, and I'm going to send that to you via email. Trust and believe it will be something that you will appreciate to the utmost. Keep in mind, we are trying to maximize your opportunities, and I'm doing the very best that I can with the time that I'm given. Today, when I get off at 11 o'clock, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to finish out that email. I'm going to send it to each of you. And as you progress through the stages, refer to those images so that you will know which icons you should select. Now, I have a good mind to send it to one of my HR representatives first and give them the opportunity to sign off on it before you actually click it.
Okay, so in case you missed that part, he says, I'm going to show you which icons you need to click as you're taking your test.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's called cheating?
I mean,
and cheating for the job of air traffic controller.
Yeah. Going back to I want somebody who actually, is qualified and capable.
So I have a personal story I want to talk about this, because I can't express how much I detest DEI.
Yep.
I want people to hear that I detest DEI. So, I've been in tech my entire career, almost 30 years. And in that career, I met some really fantastic people. One gentleman, his son was in the Navy on a carrier. One of his jobs was a air controller. And he worked 15 years for that. And then left the military, went to a school to prepare to be an air traffic controller, because this is in the early 2000s. This is how tough it was. His competition was at the same level as he was. The average person that was applying for these types of jobs have 15 years, 90% at the time and above were prior military air traffic controllers, right? These are folks that are controlling F-14s off of a deck, in a carrier, or, controlling all of these military jets in the worst possible places on Earth. Those to me are the people that should be looked at first. And DEI has given us this type of scenario, the video you just played, which to me, it infuriates me, right? How dare people think that they're going to shortcut the line and give somebody the answers to some test to get this job when we know they're not qualified.
So
it's just it's frustrating.
Just to tag on to that, a lot of people, and it doesn't really have to do with DEI, but it has to do with air traffic control. A lot of people were blaming all of that series of plane crashes on Trump. Oh, Trump came in and cut all these people out. He didn't actually at that time. None of those crashes were due to being, having cuts that Donald Trump had made. However, if you remember the crash in Philadelphia, where they had that Air Med ambulance aircraft that crashed, some news came out today. And by the way, that was just an unbelievable crash scene. There was debris. First of all, it came in at a 22-degree angle, so kind of like this. There was debris 8 city blocks away that injured a 5-year-old kid.
Wow.
It was unbelievable. But here's what's really interesting. And it's probably going to shed some light in the end of this conversation. The NTSB, in doing their investigation, they did find what we'll consider the black box. It wasn't black, but they did find the black box, and they were getting ready to do the maintenance on it, and then there was no water inside of it, which was good, although it does happen sometimes, and they expect that to happen in some cases. No water inside it because they did have to flood the area with that foam to keep the thing from burning any further. And it turns out that the black box hadn't worked in 4 years.
Get out of here.
Wow.
Can you believe that?
Now the plane the plane is its ownership is in Mexico, and the plane is, I believe, registered to be is from Mexico, right? So maybe they have different rules there.
If you're going to fly here,
I'm just reaching. I have no idea.
You're going to fly here, but that
coincidence.
So here's you have to make a series of assumptions after that. So was this a financial thing? They didn't want to pay to fix it. They had to know it wasn't working. I mean, it's one of the checklists. It's part of the pre-flight checklist. They had to know it wasn't working. So they just, in the military, we called it pencil whipped it. Yep. Check. Got. Yep. It's working. Fine. Whatever.
Yep.
So was it a maintenance thing? Was there other maintenance that was not done because of financial issues, or was it just sloppiness? And again, the original, when you had the original analysis, people come out and said probably what happened was that gurney with the body on it, with the person on it, was not latched down in place in properly. It probably slid to the rear as it was taking off. When it did that, it caused a catastrophic failure of the flight structure itself. So
wow.
Who knows?
You can't help but get right to a very sinister, theory about it, right? Black box isn't working. It came in like a missile, exploded in the city right after the helicopter crashed into the back of a plane. Trump bad, FAA under fire. Like you can't help but get to that place where you say it's not a coincidence, but in all likelihood, it probably was, and they knew it wasn't working, and they chose not to fix it for whatever reason.
Yeah. I'm more in the camp. Originally, I was pretty in the beginning. I was like, "What happened? How'd they do this?" But then, once I started hearing some of those theories, and a lot of people making good sense of those theories, I think that that's what happened. I think that the gurney was not locked down into place. I think it shifted during takeoff, and that caused the problem. And now it even makes more sense. Maybe it was locked down, but the latching mechanisms weren't working, or they weren't in proper order, because they don't maintain their planes. Again, I know I'm kind of taking it out there to the next level, but we do know that the black box hadn't been working in 4 years, and they knew it wasn't working in 4 years.
Right. And John, this aligns very similar to the that singer Aaliyah, who died, was coming back from Caribbean filming of a video. She died, I think, is 99 or 2000. I don't remember, but I did remember watching a documentary on the pilot and also the plane, which, because it was outside of the US, they didn't follow all of the rules that we have in the US. And unfortunately, that pilot and 6 people died because people cut a lot of corners. And that guy was not even rated to fly a 2-engine plane. He wasn't even rated to fly people. So for those of you that were thinking about getting a private license, when you get your first pilot license, it's for you. So the first one that you get is for you. You qualify to fly a plane by yourself. And then there's the ladder, right? Hey, you want to fly people around? Then there's a medical certificate plus a different flight because you have to meet certain standards.
Right.
And then it goes to charter pilots and so forth. And so having that flight permit is kind of like having your driver's license permit when you were 18 and you were able to drive to school and then home. But that was it.
Yeah.
You couldn't have anybody in the car.
Right.
And it wasn't until you had your actual license that you were actually able to drive with folks in the car. And that's the same deal with a lot of these folks. They cut a lot of corners, right, to save because they don't want to pay a qualified pilot with all of the right certificates. And to me, it's sad because it seems like that plane, there was a lot of corners cut in the plane itself.
Well, and we have producer Marie, who just got back from her wonderful trip whale watching in Maui. I actually eyeballed the pilots on our trip to make sure they weren't 26-year-old all female crew. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Let me just let my girlfriend take the yoke. Why not?
Yo. Oh my gosh.
Hey,
I know we're getting a little
I
bit
got to
late.
show you this video. I got to show you this video. David, I'm telling you,
it's okay. I can hold off. Go ahead.
no, you've been waiting for this. I know that you
waiting
personally have
for
been
it.
waiting.
Oh, okay.
You've
I'm
been
ready. Look at me. I'm like at the front of my chair right now.
you've been waiting for this one.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, TikTok, it's Michelle Obama, and I'm here with my big brother, Craig.
Hey, everybody.
We're here because we're excited to announce the launch of our new podcast called IMO with Michelle Obama and Craig Robinson.
And we just posted the trailer if you want to check it out.
Check it out. Thanks, you guys. See you soon.
Oh my God. I got to find that and
Is this the before and after? Is this picture the before and after?
Oh, that's so great.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. You guys want to see that again?
Nope.
No. No.
Once was enough. Well, I won't share a video. I'll just share the commentary.
That was her brother. That was her brother.
You think so?
Yeah, that's what they said.
Right.
She said, "This is my big brother."
Yeah, Robinson.
All right.
What was
That was her maiden name, was Robinson. Her,
yeah,
his.
I was
her.
gonna say. Yeah, the truth one day will come out, and you know what? Most people will go, "Yep, I knew it." And
Wait,
and
you had
no one
15,000
cares.
views? They had 15,000 views, really? Wow, I had
course.
that the other day.
Of course, it's Michelle Obama. She's got stuff to talk about. You know, John,
That's
she's
not very many.
had a,
That's not very many. I saw a live today from some person that kept on saying, "Hey, thanks for the hearts. Oh, thanks for the whatever donuts or whatever." And I think she had like 38,000 on there.
yeah. Well, Michelle's audience will grow. I mean, she's oppressed. She's got a great story about her oppression and how she's still systematically oppressed. Just oppressed.
In her life, she's ever been proud of America.
I'm oppressed in Hawaii this week, but next week I'll be oppressed in Philadelphia.
Whatever happened to my chef anyway? Oh.
He drowned in a creek near our home. It's tragic. He must have tripped or something. Yeah. I wonder what he saw. I'm sure he didn't see anything, internet. I'm sure he didn't see anything. One other positive, I just want to share one more small thing. I love this about Trump. He's like, how do I help make America great again? How do I help people have a better quality of life? So I don't know if you caught this, but U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, he was in an interview earlier today, and he talked about Trump's goal. Like his ultimate plan here is that if you're making less than $150,000 a year, you don't have any taxes. You get to keep 100% of what you make, which is pretty incredible. And I just wonder, for all those people out there who are, asking now for $40 an hour and $50 an hour and tax the rich and on and on and on. If Trump were able to accomplish that, it takes all the air out of their sails. Now, what are you going to be mad about? Okay, so now you're not paying any taxes at all. Anyways,
yeah, but I'm just taking money away from the little guy and giving it to the billionaires. Remember?
Exactly. Yeah, he's in there to enrich himself. Yeah, I just thought you think about the number of people in the country that are making less than 150,000 a year, which is most people in the country. Zero taxes, zero federal taxes. I can't account for state taxes, but zero federal taxes, that's pretty incredible.
So we still have a lot of interesting things coming out. There has been some movement on the no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, and again, they're trying to remove the tax code in general. I know that there are people putting out codes or bills like that. There's also a bill that has been put forward to end the Fed.
Again,
just saying, these things are coming out. These things are coming out. Do me a favor, everybody, if you would, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. It helps everybody else out there that hasn't seen the Just Our Take show, helps them find us. And we would love it if you do that. Also, if you're not a follower, an active follower of the show, please click on that link that says follow, because again, we'd love you to do that. And we'd love to see you back here with us again. We have a couple of really fun things coming up. I did talk to the barber friend that I was telling you about, and the barber is about 80% at this point on having us on board. So in case you don't know what we're talking about, we are going to do a show live from the local barbershop. It is a very small town barber. It is so incredible. And the talk that happens in that barbershop is just fun. It's not always politics. Sometimes it's about, Clem down the street got a new cow. And it's just kind of a fun conversation to have. He's on board with it, and we are making a deal with him. In order to do that, we may have him as a sponsor. He does have a line of hair care products, beard products, and shaving products. So we are teasing that out there. I'm talking to him to get some final work together and possibly do our first live show from the barbershop next Friday. So that's what we're working for. We'll tell you more Sunday and next Wednesday. But hey, El, if you want to head down and get a barbershop visit, the guy does a great shave.
Yeah, it saved me from going up to the big city. So yeah, I'm gonna have to take you up on that.
He's a great guy too. He's a great guy. You guys, I really do hope that we can make this thing happen, because like I said, he's a great guy. He's a lot of fun. He's got a lot of story. He says, I'm just afraid that if I talk normally, like the way I usually do, people aren't going to like me or they'll get mad at me. I go, telling you, man. No. First of all, the people in this town will absolutely love you. They already do. He doesn't have an appointment book. You come in and you write on his board, and he takes you in order. And so, again, old school. He has old school barber chairs. He does a total, and at the end, he has that little thing that he slides on his hand that like does a little massage, vibrating massage for you. It's such a cool, the hot towel, everything, you name it. It's just a really, really cool thing. Oh, you're right. The pen, before we go outside, right before I come to the pen. And speaking of sponsors, Steel Rebel Design is the primary sponsor of the Just Our Take show. They do all of our hats, shirts, cups, hoodies, anything with our logo on it. If it's merch, they do it for us, and we love them for it. I'm going to bring this up in a bigger screen. So let me take this down and go here so you guys can get a better look at it. This is our Make America Great Again on snow camo, gold on snow camo. Oh, there it is. This is the Make America Great Again white on snow camo. I love this one. I think this one's actually really kind of cool. Both of those were Kim's idea. And then this one was the dark MAGA that we have stolen, obviously. And it's the Make America Great Again. It's the one that David's wearing. And it has the cool part about this is that you're wearing a black hat down the street. People don't necessarily say anything to you until they get up on you. And it's not the red hat with the white letters, so they don't throw stuff at you from a distance. They have to actually get up close and look at you in the eye before they yell at you about wearing a MAGA hat. So Steel Rebel Design, they actually do the old school. Hey, where'd it go? Why is that shirt? There it is. They do the old school Just Our Take logo. And then here is a wonderful model wearing the snow camo white on white. Just Our Take and Steel Rebel Design. Thank you. And if you go down below the link, there's a description down. There's a link for the hats or the merch. If you go ahead and get a hold of them, they will take good care of you. If you have some shirts or hats or whatever that you need for your own purposes, whether it's a company picnic, church outing, or something like that, they will take care of those too. 5 or 500, they can do it for you. Talk to Kim, use the code JustOurTake at checkout, and she will give you a 10% discount. Thanks again to Steel Rebel Design. Dave and Elle, have you heard about the auto pen? Have you heard about the controversy with the auto pen?
Yes.
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 Tell the
Yeah.
story. This is a good one.
Someone's going down.
I
Well, they've been
hope so.
doing
Come on, Pam Bondi, get on this.
I know they've been doing a lot of analysis of all of the executive orders, executive actions, any of the writings of Joe Biden in the last several, well, in fact, probably halfway through his administration, and it turns out that it's all exactly the same. So it's what they call an auto pen. So auto pen can be several different versions. I'm not sure whether this is actually just an electronic, it prints it on there, or if this is actually a pen in a hand of a robot. And I don't mean like a robot with a big old face and everything. It's just a little arm that sits there and it actually scrolls out. You know, even a Cricut can do it. You know, the Cricut machines, even they can do this. Thank you, David. That's a great example of it. And so what's happening is they are finding that they're all exactly the same. The pressure points, the inflections, everything is exactly the same on all of these. So then you have to say, okay, what all was signed? And one of the things that's really interesting, a group of pardons that were signed, dated, and timed happened while Joe Biden was on the golf course. So he couldn't have done them.
I just would like to say, if you're auto signing, the president didn't sign it, it's not valid. Look, Trump, you've watched him sign these executive orders, all 5 billion of them. He literally it's like 35 seconds a signature or something. That is a good
question. I think if it's not an official document, or if it's not a oh gosh, what am I trying to say? If it's not a document that would make policy, change existing policy, or in this case, like making pardons, something like that. If it's just a document, hey, thank you very much for coming by. We enjoyed seeing you. Or, you know, when you write a letter to the White House, I guarantee Donald Trump is not writing you back. But you could have a letter that comes from Donald Trump that has an auto signature on there.
That's completely different than signing a pardon or an executive order or any other official document where I'm, as the person in charge and authorized to make this decision, and with my own hand making this, I'm agreeing to it. That's not the same thing as a machine doing it. Yes.
Yeah, Marie has a good point, because this is the guy that was almost 48% of his time he was on vacation. He was laying at some beach. We have video of it.
Look, even when he wasn't on vacation, the Dan Bongino show did a really good show of each and every day reading off his schedule.
Oh, right.
He would come on schedule at 10 o'clock in the morning, and he would get off by 2. And that was on a good day.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one is going to get big. And I think that you're going to find a lot of his actions, a lot of these. Those are great finds. Who put those up? Is that you, David?
I put them up, but you know, I found them because I saw this earlier. And look, I'm fired up around this. Number one, he was not of sound mind, right? You have to be of sound mind to enter into a contract. He's not in sound mind, and we know that now. Now, finally, people are coming clean. So that's number one. But number two, if somebody else was in control of signing these things, that's infinitely worse.
So the two major issues here is, one, anything that was signed with an auto pen is going to get tossed. Everything. Wow. And then two, who was doing the auto signing?
Right. Who was controlling the machine? Who pushed the button in the machine? Somebody did.
That's true. And then there's also the fact that they're not letting go that 2020 was corrupted. The 2020 election was corrupted. No. If that's the case, then not only just the signatures, everything that was done during that administration is null and void.
Right. I was looking I couldn't find it quickly, but like the signature on the letter that he wrote when he decided not to continue to run.
That's another great point, Marie.
That's that image you have there.
Yeah, exactly. So this is, you know, come on, Pam, Cash, you guys got to get all over this, and you have to bring it forward. And it's going to cause, if people are burning Teslas because they don't like Elon stopping the illegal flow of money, the fraudulent flow of money, imagine how they're going to feel when all of these horribly bad decisions that Biden allegedly made get overturned. Oh,
yeah, they were made by a staffer. They were made by a staffer, and that's going to be the big awakening. Jen Psaki,
Another unelected person, huh?
Right, an unelected bureaucrat. Maybe that's part of why they keep screaming that, an unelected bureaucrat. And maybe it's going to come out that an unelected bureaucrat was making all these policy decisions. Well, we know that they had to be, because the only one that could have made these policy decisions was the elected president of the United States. So
right.
This is going to get ugly. And I do believe this is going to come out. And again, how many crimes are they investigating right now? They're investigating thousands upon thousands right now. So I know we're all thirsty for some blood in the water, and I believe it's going to happen. I just don't think it's going to happen as fast as we want it to. It's going to happen, though. It has to happen. You know that it will. Who gave the staffer permission to do it? Well, that's exactly right. The question is going to come down to who is the one who actually made this happen. And, I think that it was the guy with the bug in the ear in the basement, the guy who famously talked about it himself, the guy who offed his chef on a paddleboard in his lagoon on Martha's Vineyard. Did I say that?
You so far off course, but the point is,
I am not suicidal. I'm not suicidal. I'm not sick. I do have firearms, but they're locked up.
No.
So.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Okay, so that's it. Thank you for bringing us back around, Producer Marie. We really appreciate that. Lots to happen, I'm sure, this coming week. The next show is going to be Sunday, and after Saturday night, it will no longer be of the employed variety. So this will be my job, I'm doing the honeydew lists. So it's going to be different. It's going to be a transition for me, but I'm looking forward to it. I think that Roger and I are going to get together and take care of a few things, right, Roger? Is Roger feeling better, by the way? I know that he was a little bit under the weather. I hope he's doing better. Pat, I hope you're feeling better. Katz, saw that you had some oral surgery done, and we're going to be praying for your quick healing and that the pain goes away quickly. If you need anything, let us know. On that, Elle, thanks for joining us again. It's always a blast when you're here. You see that the audience loves having you too. And the question was asked early on, do you ever stop smiling?
I hope not.
No. I wake up every morning as a free American citizen living in the greatest country in the world. What is there not to smile about?
Amen.
Right?
God
President Trump is in the White House. Elon is taking out all the garbage for us. It's a good time to be in America. The better time than ever. I don't think there is. But listen, the golden age has just begun.
The golden age has just begun.
Wait 6 months from now, and let's have this chat when the stock market is breaking through new numbers and people's 401ks are doubling in size. It's coming.
Yep. Roger, good to see you're doing better. I'm glad, buddy. And awesome. Pat, hope you're doing better as well. And great stuff, guys. Hey, thank you very much, everybody. We're glad that you were able to join us tonight. Look forward to the coming week. We've got a lot of fun stuff coming up. We'll have more announcements for you on Sunday. David, Elle, great to have you guys here. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week.
Thank you.
God bless you all.
Have a good night.
See y'all later.
What will we do with this moment? How will we be remembered? Look at the opportunities before us.
This election really isn't about the left versus the right. It's about we, the people, choosing our government and the choice between freedom versus tyranny.
Nobody has a chronic disease burden like we have. Why are we allowing this to happen to our children? Ultimately, the only thing that will save our country is if we choose to love our kids more than we hate each other.
What is going on here is deeper than politics. It is deeply spiritual. We are being called to rise above the hatred and the fear and the evil.
We need to remember above and beyond that we must love our neighbors, that we must treat other people as we hope to be treated.
You want to be a rebel? You want to be a hippie? You want to stick it to the man? Show up on your college campus and try calling yourself a conservative.
America is going to reach heights that it has never seen before. The future is going to be amazing!
healthy children. Don't you want a president that's going to make America healthy again?
I come to you today as a former Democrat. I will be a first-time Trump voter tonight.
The people dreamed this country, and it's the people who are making America great again.
American rock and roll.